What if your home, the place where you grew up, was slowly sinking into the ocean? It sounds like something from a movie, doesn't it? But for the people in the beautiful Pacific islands of Tuvalu and Kiribati, this is very real. It's their fight to survive. So today, let's talk about their story.
Here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll see this beautiful paradise that's in trouble. Then, we'll ask why the water is rising. After that, we'll look at the problems people faced every day and a really, really tough choice they have to make. And finally, we'll ask, what happens next? Okay, so let's jump right in. When you think of a Pacific island, what do you picture? Probably a paradise, right? White sand, blue water. But for these islands, that beautiful paradise is in some serious danger. Yeah, just think about that for a second. Imagine living in a paradise that might disappear under the waves. Wow. You know, for the people living in Tuvalu and Kiribati, this isn't just an idea. It's what they see and worry about every single day.
These places are so beautiful. They're small island nations right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. But the ocean, which is so important to their life, is now the biggest problem. Because of climate change, the water level is getting higher, and their homes are in real danger. So you have to wonder, right? Why is this happening? Let's get into the problem of the rising water and ask a really important question. Who is causing this?
And here's the thing that's just not fair. The people on these islands, they create almost no pollution. The real problem is coming from the emissions from big industrial countries that are often very, very far away. So what are emissions? Well, they're basically gases that come from things like cars and big factories. These gases go up into the air and act like a blanket around the Earth, making the whole planet warmer. And when the planet gets warmer, ice in cold places melts, and that makes the sea level go up. Okay, so we know why it's happening, but what's it actually like for the people who live there? What problems do they have every day? Let's talk about the challenges for the islanders. This isn't a problem for the future, it's a problem right now. The salt water from the ocean is getting into their farms. This damages the soils so they can't grow vegetables anymore, and it's getting harder and harder to find clean, fresh water to drink. These are huge problems for just basic living. So with all these problems, the people of Tuvalu and Kiribati have to make a choice. A really, really difficult choice that nobody should ever have to make. They really have two options, and both are tough. Option one, they can stay. They can try to build high walls to keep the water out, but big storms are very dangerous, and they would have to live with that risk. Option two, they can leave. They could move to a new country to be safe. But if they leave, they might lose their history, their culture, everything that makes them who they are. So just stop and think for a second. What would you do? Would you stay and fight for your home even if it's dangerous? Or would you leave to find safety, but maybe lose your connection to your family history and your traditions? It's a really hard question. There's no easy answer. This choice, it makes us all wonder, what's going to happen? What does the future look like for these countries? Well, people around the world are starting to pay attention. Scientists are watching the situation very closely, and big international groups are talking about how to help. But everyone is asking the same thing. Are they doing enough? And is it too late? And that leaves us with this big, important question. Will these nations be able to change and survive? Or will their homes just disappear into the ocean? What happens to them is a really important message for all of us. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.